The natural laws of the world have already begun to break down. Seek comrades willing to face destiny beside you. The time of the world's end draws near. When all the clock's lamps are lit, the truth shall be revealed. A story about the natural laws of the world is about to begin.
Hi guys, Brandon Chrome here. Today I'm here to talk a little bit about Digimon Time Stranger. So I've seen lots of people posting their final teams and stuff like that on Digimon Time Strangers and the Digimon that they use. I thought I'll do the same thing, but I'm going to go a bit more in depth about it. So I'm going to show you everyone I have in my team. You can probably see them now already. Explain to you why they're there, and also give you a bit of a rundown on my builds in terms of how I built them and obviously their value in my team and their equipment. So I don't want to waste too much time with this, but first and foremost we have Biel Starmon. And for a long time, even when I just started the game, I saw glimpses of this Digimon, and obviously I haven't watched Digimon in a long time or seen her in a Digimon series, but there were things about the design of this character that's really like stuck out to me. I'm pretty sure you guys can figure out why I'm so in love with the design of this character. But anyway, getting into it, she's basically my attack magic damage dealer. So her base stats come with quite a hefty attack and defense, not over the top but pretty good. Her speed is also not bad at all. Take note that with all the Digimon I am showing you, I didn't worry too much about the loading enhancements to them. I did a little bit of it, but when you get the training sets, it's quite easy to get your stats higher if you want to. But I also didn't want to break the game, so what I did was I got them to a reasonable strength and then just fought the final boss like that. Okay, getting into it, Fly Bullet. Performs a dark magic attack at power 90. Always hits. Always hits is important because often they raise their evasion, enemies raise their evasion, and you have a chance of missing them, which is quite bad, especially if you're struggling. And it has a 10% crit rate. We're going to get into all the crit. My whole team is actually built mainly around crit, but we'll get into that a bit later. I'll tell you at the end. After that, we've got Hurricane Screw Shot. It targets all enemies. Also a dark physical attack. Oh, so Fly Bullet's a magic attack, whereas Hurricane Screw Shot's a physical attack. So having an attack and intelligence high is actually quite useful. So this does 15 times 4 hits. The reason why it's important that it hits 4 times is because every time it hits, it has a chance of critting. So it can do a lot more damage in the long run if you do have a crit build. Before I carry on with the equipment and the attachment skills, which I'll run over quickly, her personality skill is Daring, because she naturally grows attack and defense, and having her Daring also boosts her attack and intelligence on the agent skill board, which attack, defense, intelligence, to me those are the 3 things I focused on the whole game. Her personality skill I've chose Fortifying Charge. So when you heal someone, well, I'm using X Aura on her. So as soon as one of your Digimon gets damaged, even by 1 health, you use X Aura. It heals everyone, even though it doesn't essentially heal them, but it also boosts all the target's stats when using skills to recover an ally's HP. So they almost get max stats in everything: attack, defense, speed, accuracy, evasion. They get all their stats boosted by 3 levels. So Fortifying Charge to me is probably one of the most broken personality skills. There is another one, however, that I'll be sharing with you later that is equally as broken, but you know, this is what I chose for her. I do have her with Haymaker as well, which is a crit ability, but this was the Beelstorm one I chose for my final team. So we've gone through her special skills. Attachment skills, Crush Blade. We'll go over why I chose this later as well. Performs steel physical attack at power 15 times 15 hits. Once again playing into the crit. 20% crit rate. Okay. Burst Flame. Okay, this is magic. These are magic attacks. So she's a hybrid damage dealer. Magic and intelligence. So Burst Flame, Hydro Water, both magic. X Aura plays into Fortifying Charge. So yeah, going to equipment, Known Bug. So Known Bug reverses her from being a virus type to basically being a data type. If I'm not mistaken, I think it also reverses her elemental resistances. But it does help a lot to have, if you have a lot of viruses in your team, to use Known Bug, because it changes them into the opposite of the opposite of what they are, which I find quite useful. You could use it on anyone if you had too much of a certain type in your team, but I just stuck with Known Bug for her. And then obviously the Sky God's Thunderbolt. At plus 500 attack, crit rate plus 30%. Nullifies all status abnormalities. Her using X Aura for buffs is important. Boosts electricity resistance. That's the only thing that doesn't really help her out. It just makes her less take less electricity damage, but she isn't weak to it, so it's not really doing much. But other than that, I find this build for Beelstorm to be like quite sexy. I know it goes with the Digimon, but this is a nice build for her. But yeah, now that I've explained to you exactly why she's there, it'll make more sense at the end when I've gone through my whole team. But now I'll just show you a quick little clip of her videos, show you or her special skills, show you what she's all about, and then we'll move on to the next one. Let's have a look.
Now it's my turn. Fly, bullet! Hurricane Cruiser!
Okay guys, so that was Beelstorm. I think she has a very cool little moveset. Known Bug changes her from virus to vaccine, by the way. I made a bit of a error there when I said changes her to data. I did fumble a few of my words in that first part. Moving on to Lucimon CM. Obviously you can see why he's in my team. His design is very cool. Almost like a half dark, half light. Also a hybrid damage dealer of mine. So Beelstorm and Lucimon CM are both hybrid damage dealers in my team. His personality skill being Cheer. Oh, he's also Daring, which boosts attack, defense, and if you have the requisite agent skill, intelligence as well. His personality skill is Cheer. At start of battle, boost attack and intelligence of all allies based on the total bond of battle members. Towards the end of the game, I didn't find this that useful. I would have liked to change his personality skill, but I did finish the game with him having Cheer, so it wasn't the end of the world. This is on hard difficulty, by the way. So this whole playthrough I did was on hard, and to be fair, it wasn't as challenging as I thought it would be, but it had a reasonable challenge. Moving on to special skills. Sorry. Dead or Alive. Performs dark magic attack at 30 or 120. Increased damage to targets with holy trait. Okay. The increased damage to targets with X, Y, Z, whatever. I didn't focus too much on that, so I'm not going to be talking about the increased damage to anything in this video. So with this attack, it either does 30 or 120 damage. So it's like a 50-50. So it can either do a lot of damage or not so much damage. So this ability to me was one of those abilities that, you know, I kind of like the character enough to just leave it. It's not like, you know, a game-changing ability, but it you know what, it does hit hard when it wants to. Paradise Lost. So this is the interesting ability he has. It's a very anime attack that he does. It looks like something out of Tekken. Performs null physical attack at power 95. 100% chance of reduction to null resistance. Increased damage to target. Okay, we're not going through that. So what this attack does, it's a single target attack, same as Dead or Alive, but it decreases their null resistance. So any null attack you use, whether it be a physical null attack or a magic null attack like Power Energy 3, it increases the attack of that ability after he uses this ability. So a lot of my team members do have null attacks to compensate for Paradise Lost. So after this ability is used, they will use their null attacks and it will just be more damage all round. Power Energy, that's the magic null attack. Thruster Metal performs a steel magic attack at 11 times 7 hits. So it hits for 11 damage 7 times. 20% crit rate. Then obviously has a dark and a light, you know, attack in general. His equipment being the Smithing God's Hammer. Crit rate plus 20%. Nullifies poison, deadly poison. The most important part is the crit and boost steel resistance. Because he is weak against steel. So it makes him neutral towards steel. Lastly, the Goddess of Charity Shell, which gives him 1000 HP. Nullifies confusion and chaos. Boosts null resistance. So he's also weak against null. So it makes him weak against nothing and strong against light and dark. So all round he's a very good character. He comes with a reasonable attack, pretty good intelligence. He can also evolve again, funny enough, but I'm not a big fan of his last evolution and it doesn't have Paradise Lost. So I did not evolve him to Mega form, Mega Plus, sorry, or no, Mega in general. Because this is actually just the ultimate form. Anyway, let's have a look at his special skills and then move on to the next one.
Dead or alive? Here I go. Paradise Lost.
Okay guys, so that was Lucimon CM. Pretty cool Digimon if you ask me. Paradise Lost has to be one of my favorite attacks he does. But yeah, moving on now to Gobamon Bond of Friendship. People ask me why not Agumon Bond of Friendship. Which again, you know, he looks very cool, but Gobamon played a lot more into my team comp than Agumon did. So let's go over what he's got here. His personality is Brave. Brave, which boosts his attack and SP growth. Something making him Brave just boosted his initial stats better than having him Daring. I can't remember exactly what it boosted. I think it was attack and defense with a prerequisite agent skill. But there's a reason why I made him Brave. His personality skill being Haymaker. Boost crit damage by 20%. So that's huge, especially if you are hitting crits a lot of the time. I actually wanted Lucymon. I wanted to change Lucymon CM to have Haymaker as a personality skill, but I just didn't get around to it on this playthrough. But yeah, Gobamon, Bond of Friendship, very cool looking character. Very like Saba anime vibe about him, like Lucymon's attack, Paradise Lost. Okay, stop talking crap now. Moving on to his first special skill, Rattle Star. It targets one enemy, performs steel physical attack at power 12 times 8 hits. So it does 12 damage 8 times, always hits. Now that's something interesting because it never misses. So often with these crit abilities, they have like 80% accuracy, 90% accuracy. So it's guaranteed to hit with 12 damage 8 times with a 20% crit rate. Remember now, take into consideration that his crit damage is already boosted by 20%, and this is a steel attack. The second skill being Cool Edge, targets all enemies, performs a null physical attack at power 60. See, this is where Paradise Lost, Lucymon's ability, will benefit Gobamon already, because this is a null physical attack. Power 60, not that strong. If the target has yet to act, increase damage. Okay, so he's also got a high speed, so there's a good chance that he will go before most enemies if you catch them off guard. So yeah, he plays straight into Lucymon with how he works. Obviously, attachment skills, Heavy Strike, if you want to do more damage as a null attack to a single target, because this only does 60 damage to all enemies. This does a bit more. Whack-Impellum 3, physical fire attack, physical ice attack. So this is my physical element damage dealer along with his abilities. Obviously I try to have all the elements separated throughout my party, so I can hit a weakness if I have to. But yeah, he's basically just a physical powerhouse. Like everything he does is physical. From physical element attacks to steel attacks, null attacks, he's the guy. Very cool Digimon. In terms of his equipment, I went with the God of Speed's boots, playing with his speed again, with helping Cool Edge do more damage if it has to. Nullifies poison and deadly poison, boosts wind resistance. This is huge for Gobamon, Bonds of Friendship, because he is very weak to wind. So if you look at his elemental resistances, he's null ice, weak against grass, weak against electric, he's resistant to steel, but the wind has two circles, a circle with another circle inside, which means he's very weak against wind. So boosting his wind resistance here, in my knowledge, only makes him weak against wind. Lastly, the Goddess of Fertility Sapling. This increases his defense by 300, which his base defense is already high. Nullifies poison and deadly poison. Okay, that does nothing. I didn't realize I doubled up here. So he's definitely not getting poisoned anytime soon. But that's not an issue. I'm more concerned about the defense stat and the plant resistance. So he is also weak against plant. So it makes him neutral to plant and not weak against it. So we've taken out his detrimental weakness to wind, and we've made him neutral to plant damage. And yeah, that's about all I can say about Gobamon Bond of Friendship for now. Let's have a look at his special skills and carry on to the next Digimon.
Rattle Star!
Okay, the fourth Digimon on the list. Beelzemon. Oh, and it's Agumon Bonds of Bravery, not Agumon Bonds of Friendship. You know, I forgot that they had two different things for them. So going into Beelzemon. Beelzemon, sorry. This has to be, if not my favorite, it's between him and Beelstarmon. They look like they're like brother and sister. I don't know if they say something about it in the lore, but they both got that funny eye in the middle of their head. But yeah, to me, actually the two coolest Digimon that in this playthrough, the ones that I probably like valued the most in terms of having them on my team, making sure they always had a place in my team. But yeah, Beelzemon. His attack is insane. This guy hits like a bus, and I made sure he did as well. Also a Digimon that can evolve again. His last form looks super cool as well. It just is two attacks. One of his attacks use all his SP in one move, and there is a way to counter that by having an ability that replenishes SP every turn. But you know, I kind of just left him at his mega form because it did once again play more into my team comp than his mega plus form. Once again, super cool design. Really love Beelzemon. This guy hits like a truck, absolutely. Moving into his personality skills, we also went with Brave because I've maxed out all my agent skill tree, and it increases. I think Brave increases their attack and defense, if I'm not mistaken, or attack and HP, something like that. It increases their HP and attack, but there's a reason why he's Brave. Once again. Moving on to his personality skill, stout defense. This character also might benefit more with Haymaker than stout defense. Stout defense boosts defense based on user's HP, which his HP is maxed. So I'm pretty sure it does do a lot for him having stout defense. I can change his personality skill. Once again, I finished the game before I got to that. But yeah, moving on to his special skills. Double impact, very cool looking attack. You guys will see it shortly. This one is mean. Perform steel physical attack at power 24 times 5 hits. Okay, but it only has 70% accuracy. That's the problem with this. Having it only have 70% accuracy is definitely a problem. No, it's not. Okay, wait, I didn't make a mistake. And 10% crit rate. We're not going to worry about the increased damage to angels, but it does do that. So this is a steel single attack, 24 times 5 hits, 70% accuracy, 10% crit rate. Darkness Claw. Performs dark physical attack, power 90, also a single enemy attack, 50% chance to apply injury. So injury, if a Digimon is injured, they can't heal. So if they try heal when they're injured, it doesn't work. Which is also an interesting little side thing to have. Once again, I didn't see extreme value out of it because not much of the Digimon I fought did heal. But that's Darkness Claw. Attachment skills, Heavy Strike, once again playing into Paradise Lost. Shadow Fang, Dark Physical, Saint Knuckle. Okay, so he's also a heavy physical hitter, but he's more along the lines of Dark, Light, and obviously Lightning in the physical attacks. Whereas Gobumon Bonds of Friendship had the other elements. But still, this guy hits like a truck, absolutely. Does a lot more damage than Gobumon. Moving on to his equipment, the War God's Brass Knuckles. This increases his accuracy by 20%, nullifies instant death, and boosts fire resistance, which he doesn't really need. But, you know, the ability without the resistance is enough for me. The reason why he needs more accuracy is so double impact doesn't have 70% accuracy, but now has 90% accuracy. So there's a 90% chance out of the 5 times he attacks, every time he attacks, he's gonna hit, which is a lot better than 70%. The Queen Goddess's Love Chain. This increases his intelligence by 300, which does nothing for him. because nothing he does is intelligence based or magic damage based in his kit. His intelligence also isn't the highest, but it nullifies stat debuffs, which is huge, and boosts light resistance. Once again, Beelzemon is a character that has a fatal weakness, being light. So this makes him just weak against light, and not you get hit with holy light and die type thing, you know. So yes, so it helps his light resistance. He is null dark and resistant against null attacks, which is pretty good. He's not really weak against much else. But yeah, hits like a truck with double impact. Love the character design. One of my favorites. Let's get on to his moves, his special skills real quick. And then we jump onto the next Digimon.
Double impact! Yes. Darkness claw! Yes.
Okay guys, now that we've seen Beelzemon and his flashy moves, we're moving on to the 5th Digimon, if I'm not mistaken. What are we sitting on? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the 5th Digimon, Gankumon. Okay, something about this character's design screams like a One Piece Marine to me. Like the actual design of this character just reminds me of one of the admirals from One Piece. It just looks really cool. His abilities suggest that he has like a stand, almost like in what do you call it, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. He's got like a stand vibe / One Piece vibe. Very cool design. His attacks also look really cool. But he has a very interesting ability called Table Flip, which I'll get to shortly. But first, also choosing the personality skill Brave, I probably should have double checked what it does boost, because there's a lot. I have 3 Brave in my team or in my party, and it would have been useful for me to be able to tell you exactly why I made them Brave. But yeah, also personality skill start defense, once again the same as Beelzemon. Also max HP, already boasts a very high defense stat off the bat. So he is basically like my tank. My tank, earth and fire damage dealer. Physical, also physical. I've only got 2 magic damage dealers, or proper magic damage dealers. The rest are physical, null and steel. And when I get to my last Digimon, you'll see why. Going to his special skills. Quake, Blast, Fire, Father. Very interesting name. Very interesting looking as well. Performs fire physical attack at power 25 times 4 hits. All these Digimon in my team hit multiple times. But yeah, so that's that. Fire attack, pretty basic. Same multiple hits damage. Table Flip. This is the interesting ability that I thought I would be using more in the game. Table Flip. Targets all enemies, inverts all stat changes of the target. Now I thought this was going to be way more useful than it was, because funny enough, not many Digimon actually buff themselves other than bosses. But often the bosses will have buffs that cannot be taken away or cannot be table flipped. So I ended up having him in my team, probably using it. There were a few times table flip did come in handy. I think Chronomon, the final boss, I think, sorry, there are a bit of spoilers in this. I think the final boss table flip may have been quite useful. But yeah, it inverts all their stat changes, which is very unique. I don't think any other Digimon has that. Attachment skills, once again, Heavy Strike, playing into Lucimon. Crush Blade, which is going to play into my last Digimon. Comet Hammer, just a different element. Whack-'em Palm, Fire Physical. In terms of his equipment, I went the Marine God's Red Scarf. Fits his name perfectly. Plus 300 attack, nullifies paralysis, immobilization, boosts water resistance. Funny enough, he's weak against water, so it makes him neutral to water. Perfect item on him, boosts his attack, makes him not weak against water anymore. The Moon Goddess's Moonlight Bow. Boosts his SP by 500, not huge, not necessary really. Nullifies sleep and deep slumber. Pretty useful, there is quite a few enemy Digimon that try to put you to sleep. Boosts ice resistance, and he is weak against ice. So essentially what we've got is a Digimon that's neutral to every element and resistant to lightning and earth. And he is a tank. Perfect tank Digimon if you were looking for one. Gankumon. Very cool design. Marine from One Piece. Not quite, but close enough. But yeah, let's take a look at his special skills and move on to the next Digimon, which is my healer.
Flame blast! Fire father! Hell yeah! Table flip!
Okay guys, I just want to add a note to tell you I have 3 virus in my party. 1 unknown, which is Gobamon Bond of Friendship, and 1 data, which is Gankumon, which we just went through, and obviously 2 vaccine, Aegeomon being immovable. So that's why having known bug on Bill Starmon was useful, because it changes her from virus to vaccine. Anyway, moving on to Venusmon. Now, this Digimon, same appeal as Bill Starmon. Very cool looking design. As you can see, with her design, she is a very interesting looking Digimon. Also one of my favorites for various reasons. Very interesting design, and a massive healing Digimon. This Digimon can heal for days, and she's a debuffer, so she's a healer debuffer. She only has Holy Light, which is the only attack she does have. Everything else is either buffing, debuffing, or actual removing abnormalities, revive. She's a reviver Digimon as well, so she's just a pure utility Digimon. Her personality skill being adoring. Once again, I think this plays into SPR, which one of her moves used to heal, love you. So adoring is her personality skill I chose. Now, this personality skill, Great Embrace, I don't know if I got rid of or loaded an enhancement of a Digimon that had this personality skill, but I think I've only ever had this skill once, Great Embrace. I haven't seen this ability on another Digimon ever. But I don't know if it's rare, if it's a super rare ability, but it's definitely something I didn't come past in hundreds and hundreds of Digimon. Going over Great Embrace, by the way, this ability is almost as broken as Fortifying Charge. Great Embrace. Overheals up to 200% of the target's max HP when using recovery skills. It sounds good, right? It is. It's as good as you think it is. So, now, any healing skill you use, it can overheal them to up to 200%, like I said. So when you use Love You, okay, I'll get to that. Let me just go through Peace Fantasia first. Okay, this is a debuffer. Target one enemy, deals fixed damage at a power 10 times 3 hits. Okay, that's absolutely useless. Like this you'll see what this ability is, but it does no damage whatsoever. 100% chance of 30% reduction to attack and intelligence. So automatically that makes their damage output, the boss, enemy, whatever, 30% weaker for 3 turns, and it removes their stat buffs. So this not only weakens enemies' attack and defense, it also removes their buffs. This has to be the best healer in the game. I'm not too sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see there being a better healer in the game than Venusmon. Moving on to her second ability, Love You. This targets all your allies. Recovers HP based on the user's SPR. And you'll see she's got 6,420 SPR, so she's got one hell of a SPR. Also reasonable defense, reasonable intelligence. Removes stat debuffs. So between these two skills, it removes Peace Fantasia removes stat buffs, Love You removes stat debuffs, and with Great Embrace, it overheals people. So wow, you know, she's just doing so much with so little. Like one ability is doing 2 things, another ability is doing 3 things. It's just massive. Venusmon is hands down for me the best healer in the game. If you can get Great Embrace on her as a personality skill, even better. Like, funny enough, it also works with Revive. So if you use X Revive on an ally, it over revives them. So it revives them with more health than they initially had, like when their base health greatly recovers their HP. So obviously she's got Holy Light Restore, removes status abnormalities, injury and disease. That's why that's there, for injury and disease. X Aura moderately recovers HP for all allies. That's only there because it uses a very little SP. So if I run out of SP for Love You, I'll use X Aura. But once again, also overheals thanks to Great Embrace. Massive skill, massive. Like, I actually fell off my chair. So when I realized what Great Embrace did in her kit, I got pretty excited, like threw my arms in the air and literally fell backwards over my chair. Very exciting to figure out that move. And you know, with her design, once again, amazing. Her hair is just, I don't know how she got her hair like that. But yeah, moving on to equipment. Dark Guard boosts dark resistance, and she also is one of the Digimon. I have three or four, I think it's 3. She has a fatal weakness to dark, and Dark Guard boosts dark resistance. The God of Darkness's cloak also boosts dark resistance. So I'm not too sure if that makes her neutral to dark. I don't know if it stacks, but that's how I had it. Also nullifies instant death, very useful for being a debuffer and healer. Increases her SPR by 300, once again playing into Love You, which heals based off SPR. So I found this build for her. Obviously attaching the tweaking the attachment skills, or you can do that, but for me this build was almost perfect for Venusmon. Anyway, let's take a look at her interesting set of skills. They don't do much damage, but they're interesting nonetheless. And then move on to the final Digimon, which is AGO Choosmon. You can't really change that, he's a guest, but you can change his form, which I'm going to go over, which is going to bring together my whole team comp after this. Let's take a look at these abilities.
Yes.
Okay guys, Venus one's cool, eh? She attacks people with a pigeon. Very interesting. As I said, one hell of a healer. Anyway, last but not least, moving on to Digimon Blue. Now you guys are probably gonna wonder, oh, why blue? Why not light or lightning or whatever? Okay, so he actually brings my whole team together in terms of the steel attacks. So I couldn't change his personality skill. It was tolerant. I mean, healing wisdom, and his personality was tolerant. I couldn't change that because he's part of the story. But now the reason why I chose Digimon Blue was because of his special skills. Powered Ignition. Performs steel physical attack at power 80. 100% chance of reduction to steel resistance. Increased damage to targets with deity trait. Okay, that's, remember, we weren't going to talk too much about that. But now, if we just go back quick and look at Gankumon has Crush Blade, Beelzemon, Double Impact, Steel, Gabumon, Bond of Friendship, Rattle Star, Steel, Lucimon, Thruster Metal, Steel, Beelstormon, Steel. Every one of my Digimon have a steel attack built in their kit, along with the fact that Lucimon's Paradise Lost also plays into everyone having other than Venusmon having a null attack. So that is why Digimon Blue brings the whole team together with Powered Ignition, and obviously their attacks being strong by themselves. Yeah, performs steel physical attack, power 80, 100% chance, reduction of steel resistance, increased. Yeah, okay, so we went over that. So that's what brings my whole team together. Now, Penetra Laser, this actually does a lot of damage. And over and above, with this this form of Digimon, it uses double SP to do his abilities, but boosts his attack by 1.5 times. So he is also the highest damage output version of Digimon. Performs steel physical attack power at 100. The lower the user's SP, the lower the damage. Increased damage to targets with fire trait. Okay, we're not worrying about that. So after he's used Powered Ignition, you can use Penetra Laser, and I think the higher his SP is, the more damage it does. Once again, falling straight into my steel build. Then he has Heavy Strike, Lucimon's Story, falls into Lucimon's kit. Crescent Leaf, Nano Machine Break, that just falls into his different evolutions. X Aura, just a basic healing skill, didn't think too hard about it. Heals everyone in case, you know, Venusmon couldn't do it. The blue Steel Data Fragment obviously starts the battle as Digimon Blue. His second equipment, the Sun God's Burning Arrow. Increases his attack by 300, nothing too fancy. Boosts fire resistance, which he is weak against. So it only makes him weak against lightning. Nullifies paralysis and immobilization. As I said, once again, I couldn't do too much with this Digimon, so I didn't worry too much about his build, but it did matter what form he was. So yeah, we're gonna have a look at his special skills, and after that I'm gonna have a small little end to my video, explaining or saying one or two things, and then that'll be it. Okay, let's have a look at his abilities.
Powered Ignition! Great. Penetra Laser!
And that's it, guys. Digimon Blue. And that concludes my team, my party of Digimon for the my final Digimon party that I went into the end boss with. Obviously, as I said, I don't know if I did mention it in the beginning of the video. It's a long video. I did spend 227 hours on the game. It is hard. I did finish on hard difficulty. I did get every Digimon in the Digi line that you can get. I did create every Digimon. 100% of the game. The only thing I have left to do is finish the game on Mega difficulty or Mega Plus difficulty. Mega Plus Plus, something like that. But I am waiting for DLC before I do that, so I have something more to do in the game rather than replaying it now and having done basically everything already. I just want to say a big thank you to anyone that does watch this video to the end. As I said, it is quite a lengthy one, but that is my Digimon Story Time Strangers final team, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Cheers, bye.